each other. I don't do it. I hardly respond. And they don't need me to respond because they've got each other. And that's what they want. They don't want a teacher to tell them what to do, how to do. They want to be learning as a team, learning from each other. Of course, I organize everything, but they don't feel it. They don't feel like there's someone manipulating them or forcing them to do anything. And remember, they're doing this on an online platform, not their school. It's an informal platform. And they're learning and they love it and they don't leave. They keep learning. They have live online meetings. They organize. I don't do it. I mean, I have my own once a week with them. But they organize their own live online meetings within their teams. So if I've got 500, 1,000, 5,000 students, I can't possibly reach them. So teaming up, and they're in teams of up to 10 generally, teaming up is a way for them to engage and learn together, grow together. So the live meetings is what they organize, not what I organize. This is how the teams start off. First, they team off through the grouping on Moodle, and then they work on their, because they organize courses or whatever they're doing, they create, one of them creates a Google Doc. They add all the other team members, give them editing rights, and that's how they plan their activities. If they're creating a collaborative course, their courses, they collaborate on their syllabus. They, if they're writing a book or a chapter, whatever they're doing it on Google Docs. And they're also working on presentations because part of the course is for them to present their work to each other, to the other teams. So they use Google Slides presentations for this. Again, one of the team members, they could decide on having a leader. The leadership style is up to them. They also work on how to work together in a policy, team policy doc, which is really important. That's where they communicate, they decide on a kind of communication that they want, whether it's WhatsApp, and they go off to WhatsApp, to Messenger, and they come up with their tools, the tools that they use on a daily basis. And that's how they communicate outside of the Moodle course. They also practice engaging each other and learners through Kahoots. So they create Kahoot Live and they create Quizlet Live. They also use other platforms and they engage learners because the idea is for them to learn what's good for them. And what's good for them is what's good for their students. So this is an example of a group. This is one group. You'll see that the photos are, this is one team and a course or two courses that they developed. And this is how they meet through Zoom or other platforms. They learn about 8 different platforms, free platforms, of course, and they're so happy. And the participants are from around the world. They're from Australia to Jamaica, which is, as far as I know, it's over 10 hours, and yet they managed to find time. So I'm just the, I guess, the backbone, but they're doing the work. They're the teachers, they're the learners, and they're experiencing learning. So at the end, they showcase their work. And it is about peer learning. And sometimes I call it peer teaching because everything gets confused. These are educators. The students in all the courses are educators, most of them. Some are IT people, administrators, but they're basically educators who come to learn how to teach online. and engage their learners. And they're learning by experiencing what I'd like them to do in the classroom, which is peer learning and peer teaching and collaborate. My goal is to get teachers to collaborate. I couldn't do it, I'm sorry to admit, in my neck of the woods, at my college, or at my K-12 public school. I couldn't get teachers to do this. I had to go online to motivate teachers. For some reason, it works better in an informal environment. So what they do in the showcase and what they do throughout the course is they create, someone's talking in the background. If you could mute your mic. They create video tutorials of everything they learn. I request them, the requirement is for them to, whatever they learn, they have to create a video of whatever it is. And this is really important in online communication, first of all, because the only way you can show someone what you mean, really mean, when you're having problems or when you need help is through video tutorials. When you screencast, when you use, for example, it could be Camtasia, which is paid, or Screencast-O-Matic, which is completely free, just like you saw before on Zoom. But you can also use Zoom. You can screencast and create video tutorials using Zoom and then add it to YouTube and share it. And that's the idea. The idea is for them to create video tutorials to showcase what they're learning as they learn it and document whatever it is that they're learning. The minute they share it with others, others learn too. And it's never the same. You say, well, Nellie, isn't it boring? The same thing? It's not, because we're not the same. We're different. So the way I do it is going to be different from someone else's work. And they also use multimedia to reflect on their learning. There's a Padlet wall that I've added here. I think it jumped. A Padlet wall that I added as an example. So we use curation walls, and there are different kinds of cure. There's Padlet wall, there's Wakelet. There's a list of them if you're interested. I have a list of all of these, and they learn about these, and they use them, and they share them. So if I click on this, it'll take me to, it's coming up, there it is. There's my Padlet wall. And there you are in Toronto. That's Lake Ontario, and there's a bridge. And they add, this is how they can engage in a live online class. Now, I added this before. It's also on the PowerPoint. And this is what I got. Okay, so I got responses right away. This was, I guess, about an hour ago, maybe. I added it to, I think it's there in the chat box, but let me get the link for you so I can add it in the chat box again. And then I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint. So I'm adding it to the chat. Okay, I try to add it to YouTube, but the problem with YouTube is you're not allowed to add links. YouTube reminds you to behave yourself when you try to do it, and then they can also block you if you keep insisting on it. So there's the Padlet wall. So what they do is they share and they reflect. Now, reflecting, as we all know, is really important, especially if you do it not only through text, but through images and videos, audio. On Padlet, if you're not familiar with it, you should try it. You can add just about anything. text, your voice, and students love it because they can also use their phones, which is what they prefer. So I combine Zoom with Moodle. And I get a lot of questions about this on YouTube, on my channel. This seems to be really, really popular. How do you get API, Zoom API on Moodle? So it's quite easy. You just have to have a paid account. It doesn't work for free accounts. So if you want to get Zoom on Moodle, it's possible. But you can also get free online Zoom-like virtual classes, such as Congrea, which is completely free. Jitsi is completely free. Google Meet is completely free. Microsoft Teams is completely free. On the Moodle, BBB is completely free. So there are lots of platforms that you can use on the Moodle that are completely free. So collaborative courses, the idea, of course, is for teachers to work collaboratively. In most cases, in my schools, they don't. Everybody's on their own and everybody's frustrated. Well, most are frustrated, unhappy, because it's hard. As was mentioned with I for the island of e-learning or online learning, it's lonely. It really is. Nobody wants to learn alone. I don't. I mean, I get lazy too. We all do. So it's highly motivating to work with someone else or to work on a team. One person's not enough. I think the ideal number is 4. Work collaboratively with your faculty. Work together on courses. But before you do that, before you're convinced, come to Moodle for Teachers. Learn on Moodle for Teachers with teachers from around the world, and you'll be hooked. So that when you go back to your university, you'll accept collaborative learning and you'll be ready to collaborate with your colleagues. Trust me, it works. This is one of the courses. I was kind of surprised because these are teachers. Well, this one is an engineer. These are teachers that belong to the tech world. They're not, you know, their whole world is technology. And yet this group did 2 courses, one on Moodle for beginners, because they wanted to teach what they learned with others. So they created a Moodle for beginners. They're still working on them, by the way. They're right now managers of a Moodle site. They've graduated from Moodle teachers to Moodle managers, and now they're practicing to be managers of a whole Moodle site. And again, it's not about the Moodle or about technology. It's about learning together with others. So how do I keep them glued to the course? And they are glued, trust me. They spend, I think, more time, and I hope their spouses aren't angry with me and their children, but they spend more time online, and I can see them with the emails coming in. I get notified by email. I can see the times, even in their time zones. They're up at night. They're online a lot. And the reasons are, first of all, because it's peer learning. They're learning in teams and they feel responsible to their team members. And another thing that keeps them glued are the rewards. Moodle has a system that allows me, through the videos that they create and the other activities that they do, to reward them with digital badges. Very, very easy. And these aren't just images. They have codes embedded in them. So these digital badges are very powerful, and they can use them later on at their university for their professional development. And university do accept the courses that they take, especially now, that they take online. So if we're talking about MOOCs, my MOOC is not about videos. It's not about doing it on your own. It's about collaborating and working together. So the digital badges, they don't go to sleep until they get that digital badge for the week. Usually it's weekly badges. They stay up because they want those badges. And if they don't see those badges, they contact me. Nellie, I've done my work, and I have to mark their work, by the way. That's the only thing I have to do. I have to mark their videos. And of course, it's they get 100 if they do it right, and they usually do it right. And they contact me and they ask, Nellie, where's my badge? And that's where patience comes in. And it's really easy. Once you're on the kindness patient mode, it's really easy. Everything is good. And I like it. I like that they're interested. I like the fact that they're doing the work and they want to be rewarded. So you need to show learners and people in general. It's not just about students or learners, people in general, because it is a people job. Teachers are involved in communicating with people, and you need to see your learners, whether it's online or face-to-face, it makes no difference. You need to show appreciation. And that's what we do. We reward them. We appreciate their work. We show them that we appreciate their work. You can't just put content out there and, you know, expect people to follow. Who's going to follow? And if they are going to follow because they're very disciplined, they're not going to be very happy, because nobody wants to do anything alone, and they want to be appreciated and they want support 24/7. And they can get it without knowing that I'm not there 24/7, but they feel like I am. And that's what's important. They think, Nellie, don't you sleep? I do. But they don't know that, because the system, technology, allows you to send authentic appreciation. And what they get at the end, based on the certificates and all the activities, and Moodle actually, there's an activity called certificate, simple certificate, that Moodle generates, with my help, of course, generates these certificates, and the names are there, automatic, but they need to be based on something, and the teacher adds the requirements, whatever they happen to be. And that's my job. Doesn't take long. And the certificate, I can create it anywhere, on Canva, on a PowerPoint, anywhere. So it's easy to create. And these certificates also have coding on them, which is really important. So that's their reward. And what do you think? Thumbs up. What do they prefer? Certificates? Thumbs up if you think they prefer 1, certificates, or 2 thumbs up if you think they prefer digital badges. So digital badges, 2 thumbs up, certificate of completion, 1 thumb up. So let me see what we've got here. I can also, okay, so I see Lana with 2. Anyone else? Let me see, anyone else? Any other? I see Lalaine, we don't get your name, you need to rename yourself. All right, so we don't have too many participants raising their thumbs. You must not be here. Oh, okay, Sophie, nice to see you, Sophie. Sophie can attest to a lot of things. She can get the truth. If you think I'm not telling the truth, Sophie will definitely let you know. Yes, you're right. They prefer their badges. The certificate is at the end, and they do want it, definitely want it, okay, especially for their organizations, but they prefer the digital badges. So I'm thinking of one group of teachers, or teams, as I call them, team of teachers, who started out with online engagement in live virtual classes such as Zoom, but they learned about 12 different kinds of Zoom-like classes. They started with that. They went on to Moodle, learning how to be a Moodle teacher, a Moodle manager, and now they're learning how to manage Moodle. And they're doing a great job. It's very rewarding, and I get a lot of aha moments when I see them engaging with each other, not with me. I'm not the center. They are, the teams, the students. So they started out with a course on how to engage learners online. There are 2 courses, one now, there was one in April. It was a 2-month course. There's one now in July that started on July 12. It's not too late to join. On how to use LMSs, different free LMSs, and how to use 8 different live online virtual classes. You can see some of the tools that participants engage in, create. And if you're interested, there's also self-care for educators on how to care for themselves and be better at what they do in the classroom, physical classroom and online in August, if you're interested in that. And there's a 3-day conference called MMVC 20, which started in 2011 as a face-to-face conference and turned into an online conference. So that's going to be our 9th year. So if you're interested in that, you can find me online or just write Moodle for Teachers and you'll get to me. There's also VW MOOC, which is virtual worlds. So if you're interested in virtual worlds, if you're new to virtual, if you'd like to know about virtual worlds and experience it, this is in the month of September. And again, it's not just sitting back like you are now and listening, it's actually being active. And that's it for me for today, but I hope that we continue and you join my online ventures so we can learn together. And now for questions. That was 40, I think I'm on time. That was 40 minutes and 51 seconds.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Neri.
If anybody would like to talk, maybe they can unmute. You can allow them to unmute themselves. That would be great.
Okay.
And then let me stop screen sharing here. There. So if you can get them to unmute and ask their questions.
If you have questions, please raise your hand. I'm going to...
Or comments, of course.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be a question.
Okay. There's a question from Dr. Pradipta Ranjan. Yes.
Yes. What do you think should be done to equip the educators and learners in technologically and technological? Oh, that's great. Great question. Yes. My advice is to go mobile. That's my advice. That's what I do. In most countries around the world today, the phones are used. Use whatever they can. And even if they don't have an internet pack, they can still use their phones offline. They can communicate using their audio and video, even if they don't have, as I said, the internet or the internet's not working. All they need to have is a charged phone, or the phone has to be charged. If it's fully online, it's not a problem. If they're in the physical classroom, it could be a problem when they need to recharge their phones and there's no socket. So I hope that answers your question. What are the challenges that halted your great job as part of experience? Halted your great job as, I'm sorry. can you voice your question there? Can you raise your hand so Dudi can let you speak? Because I'm not sure I understand your question. Next question. What is your advice on how to engage and get feedback needed to pursue the lecture to the next stage? Well, feedback again, using the
Hello.
phone. Yes, go ahead.
May I, madam?
Yes, please.
May I?
Yes.
Can you hear me, ma'am?
Mm-hmm.
Am I audible? Hello.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Ma'am, this is Dr. Pradipta Ranjan Patnaik from Odisha province of India. Just you answered my question right now, but it's a very serious socio-economic question. The access to electronic gadgets and the financial capabilities to access the electronic gadgets is a big challenge here in India, because we cannot reach to the students of the hinterland. So the online teaching in this pandemic situation has become just a mere eyewash. So how to overcome this unease moment? So
Yeah.
do you have any suggestions
Yes, I
for that?
do. Yes, I do. In fact, I communicated with a few principals in India, actually, just by coincidence, on this. They can do this as a team, and that's where the team element comes in. Maybe one person has a phone or some gadget, and they get together around that gadget, and they use the gadget, one gadget, for a few collaboratively. There's always one person who has the gadget. And working like this is very beneficial because, again, working one-on-one is not engaging. You're not going to engage yourself. There's a lot of discipline and motivation, self-motivation involved that most of us don't have. So together like this, they can sit somewhere in their province under a tree or in a restaurant or whatever, in a house, somebody's house. Right now, it might be a problem. So they're better off to be outside, which is why I said a tree, preferably outside right now, and with one gadget, and they can take turns with that gadget. Let's see if there's another. Rima, okay. Will the online classes be as effective as face-to-face? That's a good question. That's a great question because you use the future. I like that, Rima. In the future, definitely. And if they've gone through Moodle for Teachers, definitely. And we've had, right now, we've got over 20,000 participants. Yes, they will. They will, and they will. I'm very, very optimistic that in the future, teachers will be able to have more effective, not as effective as face-to-face, because face-to-face is no longer possible with 2,000 students in the lecture hall. That's ridiculous. Or, even less, but I'm talking about numbers at universities around the world. The numbers are just increasing. So being able to go offline and to work collaboratively in an online environment is a solution. And I think it will get better because technology is improving all the time. I don't know if I'm answering all the questions. Dudi, maybe you can help me out.
Actually, the time is up.
Okay, fine. Sorry. I wasn't looking. I was just looking for my talk. Sorry about that. That wasn't very considerate. Sorry about that.
Okay, so
thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for the experience, because it has been an experience. I would like to get to know you better. So the only way I can think of is to join Moodle for Teachers. I'll add it to the chat box.
okay.
Thank you very much.
So you want to get more information about Dr. Neri, you can follow her classes. Okay, she will have classes like a good Moodle for teachers. Okay, you can go there. Okay, and you can learn a lot. I also joined one of the class there. Okay, thank
Yeah,
you,
your
Dr.
name
Nelly.
looked familiar.
Okay, now let's continue. Okay, proceed to Lena Snyder. Okay, also from Northwest State Community College, and she's the vice principal for enrollment and student affairs, right?
That is
Okay,
right.
yeah, okay, great to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm so pleased to be here. It's just a wonderful opportunity. I wanted to thank you, Duty, for inviting me. And I'd also like to thank my colleague, Mike Vanderpool, who had spoken earlier. It's because of his kind of leadership with the Ohio Leads Virtual Summit that I'm here today. We had the chance to talk about what the shift to remote learning meant in Ohio and what it meant for Northwest State. But as Duty mentioned, I'm the Vice President of Enrollment Management and Student Affairs at Northwest State Community College in Ohio. I've just stepped into that position in January. Prior to that, I was the Dean of Arts and Sciences at the college, and we had 7 full-time faculty in my area and about 30 part-time faculty in arts and sciences. And my focus was always on relationships with those faculty, because that is how we do our best work. And so, you know, I see Dr. Nelly nodding her head. It's so fun to see that, because, you know, that's why we're in education. It's about the relationships with our learners and our coworkers so that we can each achieve our potential. So today I just wanted to share with you kind of a little bit about Northwest and talk about the importance of keeping connected in remote learning. And my role as the vice president, I'm really responsible for the learner's life outside of the classroom. So everything they do outside of the classroom at the institution, whether it's student activities, whether it's engagement with our service offices like financial aid or business, it's counseling, all of those academic supports, I focus on making sure that we've got the right services in place to help our learners be successful. It's not just me. We have a wonderful team of folks, and we have a great group of faculty as well. And Mike's been very influential in our shift to remote learning. Without him and his students, as he mentioned earlier, it would have been a much more difficult transition for us. Let me share my screen here. Okay. This one. Share. Okay, can everyone see and hear? Okay, good. All right, perfect. Thank you. Our learners were concerned about the shift to remote learning. We had deployed a survey very early on in this process to ask what they felt, what they thought, and what their technology needs were. And what we learned in that survey was 40% of our students had never even taken an online class. So we knew going into this that we needed to provide a support, connection, and engagement with them. Okay, there we go. Today, I'm just going to share, it's really an idea exchange. I'm not here as an expert. I'm here as a fellow learner. I'm an administrator, and my role is really to support everyone at Northwest and learn from you, hear what your perspectives are in terms of remote learning, what you see the future being for online learning, particularly given this shift. I want to share a little bit about who Northwest State is, what drives us, and then what value we see from social connections. And then finally, just have an open dialogue. Share what your perspectives are, what your experiences are, and answer any questions that you may have. So on this map, I just wanted to share or give you a little bit of higher ed context in the United States. We have about 4,300 institutions of higher education. There's around 17 million students enrolled in those institutions, and 1,500 of those institutions are community colleges, and that's what Northwest State is. We have We're much lower in cost compared to a university. So a learner can come to Northwest and complete the first couple of years of a bachelor's degree at a fraction of the price. So we're really the open access, lower cost institution, and we see ourselves as the launch pad for learners' futures. They can also pursue applied degrees. You'll see the black arrow, and that's just a rough kind of arrow pointing to where approximately Northwest State is on that map. On the left, you'll see that's just a map of Ohio. Northwest State serves 6 counties in the northwest corner of Ohio, and our mission drives all of our action. And we are focused on, our mission is to serve by providing access to excellent and affordable education, training, and services that will improve the lives of individuals and strengthen communities. We're very committed to that, and everything that we do is focused around fulfilling that mission. Our academic programs, as I mentioned a minute ago, we have bachelor's bound. So again, students who want to transfer to a university. We also have direct to career learners, which covers several different academic divisions. As I mentioned, we have arts and sciences. There's a business division. We have allied health, nursing, STEM, and industrial technologies. So we have a lot of hands-on degrees where learners can go directly to work immediately upon completing their associates. We also offer business and industry training. And in the fall of 18, our enrollment was 2,300 students. The bulk of them, or 80%, are enrolled part-time. They work, they have families, and they commute to school. So they have a lot of demands on their time. So we're always trying to see how can we best support them and work with them as they have all of those different obligations. Let's see here. I just wanted to share an image of our president. That's Dr. Michael Thompson. He is a true champion for students. And I would say that our shift to remote learning during this term was really successful because the entire institution is focused on our learners. These are just a couple of images of our students that we have. On the right hand, we have a learner who's in a biology class. On the left, it's a woman in phlebotomy. Shift here. I'm going to move my image so that I don't. Okay, so as we all know, COVID-19 changed everything. It really did. I don't think we could have ever anticipated the degree of change that we experienced as a result of this virus. It changed our classroom setting, it changed how we offer our services, and it changed how we offer co-curricular activities and the like, counseling, everything. It shifted completely. It changed our learners' lives and their circumstances. As I mentioned a minute ago, many of our students have families themselves. So they went from having a computer to themselves to perhaps having to share that with their children while they completed online learning in K-12. So their circumstances were shifted. They might have been dislocated from work. And then they stay inside. You're now forced to be in your home with your entire family. So stress levels went up and people were experiencing a lot of mental health issues. And in higher ed overall, I think it changed things forever. Online learning made things change, but this shift really did kind of jolt us awake and kind of move us forward. I'm very sad for all of the loss that all of the different countries have experienced. But at this point, we also want to make the best of higher education in these circumstances. So the other part of that is I think people are somewhat fatigued. At least what we experienced at Northwest. In March, we made the shift to remote. We decided to offer our summer courses solely online, and our intention is to be back in person in the fall. But our numbers are increasing. And I think we're seeing among our employees some concern that maybe this isn't, it's not all gone. And we're going to potentially have to continue shifting on a regular basis. We may be back in person for a little bit, and then have to drop back to remote. So what we have to do is hold on to the relationships that we have, and again, focus on connections with one another and our learners, because everything is different and we have to adapt to the circumstances, and they're going to continue to evolve. One of the elements that I wanted to mention also, we provide advising to our learners when they first start with Northwest and throughout their curriculum. So instead of having the in-person appointments, now they needed to shift to Zoom. So all of our advisors needed to get up to speed in using this tool and learning how to connect with our learners. They needed to coach the learners through that too. So that was a process for them. All of our business office had to function in an online. So we literally, the entire operation of the institution shifted to remote. It was really remarkable. It was a lot of stress, but what we want to do is take the best from what we've learned and continue that going forward. We look at this, and what has happened is, you know, much of life is how we respond to it. And our responsibility is to create meaningful, lasting, and positive change from this shift. We've always been committed to our learners, and this whole event it never changed what we value, but it made it more important for us to fulfill our focus on relationships. Our president went into this with the approach that people first and health and safety for everyone. So the focus on focusing on people first, what helped us say we value our people. We want to make sure everyone's taken care of. We need to make sure our learners stay connected. We have to find out what they're struggling with. So there was constant communication and a constant focus on that. So we ended up having what we called campus conversations on a regular basis with learners to find out how they were doing, what their needs were, and then try to help them get those needs met. We frequently heard, I don't have a routine. I don't have a connection. I'm in my house, you know, I'm stuck in my bedroom. I don't get to go to class anymore. And they truly missed that. So we had to help them see during these times, create that routine. Even though you don't have the physical classroom to go to, you need to create those times to log on and connect with your peers so that you're still engaging and making progress toward completing your class for the semester. I wanted to share this quote from an organization called Achieving the Dream. We just recently joined this organization, and it is focused on helping institutions transform themselves into student-focused organizations. I don't know if you're familiar, but within the United States, community colleges are the open access institution. So students enroll at a community college, and unfortunately, our degree completion rate is not as high as we would like it to be. So much of what we've focused on in the last 10 to 15 years is on achieving better results for our learners. Our membership in Achieving the Dream is one more step toward that. You know, I wanted to begin also by saying too, we've been on a journey. Like, I think our shift to remote resulted from a few years of focusing on learners. So we didn't just do this, we turned on a dime, but I think we were open to meeting everybody's needs in a new environment. So this whole event served as the event that unfroze our habits. Achieving the Dream highlights prepare for the desired change, set the stage for unfreezing habits in favor of cultivating a student-focused culture. Although COVID-19 is very, very negative, this event really kind of jolted us into now we can really rethink how we operate and how we support our faculty and our learners in these new environments. So I wanted to share that quote because I feel like all of our work over the past few years has prepared us for the change, and this COVID-19 incident really just launched us forward. This image just shows what a student-focused culture is about. The items around the center circle are all of the areas that we operate in at the community college and the areas that we have influence. And we want to drive our philosophy toward a student-focused culture in all of these areas. So teaching and learning, engagement and communication, equity, data and technology, and so on. So all of our work needs to be examined and considered from a student-focused culture perspective. So earlier I said it's our responsibility to create these meaningful relationships. How do we do that? So that was the big key question as we shifted to remote learning. Mike was instrumental in this. He had mentioned that he and his students, they really helped our entire institution shift. We had probably about 45 full-time faculty and probably about 100 part-time within the 2-week period that we were dormant, if you will, because we had a spring break and then we added an extra week of spring break. We had a 2-week period to get all the faculty ready to shift to that remote environment. And they needed training, they needed resources, including laptops, webcams, hotspots, and his team, together with our IT department, was instrumental in providing that resources, or providing those resources, I should say. His students actually trained our Success Center staff on Zoom. So we have a team of tutors who provide tutoring on a walk-in basis. So we had to shift to a remote lab for that, and then individual appointments. Mike's students trained the faculty on how to use Zoom and how to connect with people. So we were tremendously proud of their work. We could not have done it without them. But really the emphasis, as I mentioned at the beginning, is relationships that are built from social connections in remote environment is absolutely essential. We need to see one another. We need to remain connected, and we have to make sure to include that in our new environments. So we serve a few different groups, if you will, and we really do want to be the growth and activity hub for all of our learners. If you look at it, we have a group of young adults who are 18 to 25 years old, and then we have adults who are 25 and up who may have families and work commitments. But we want them, both groups, to come to Northwest and discover their unique strengths, develop new social connections, further develop their talent, cultivate a growth mindset, and then discover their own shared responsibility in their growth. We see it as a place where they get to discover all of these things about themselves and develop their talents. And we love to be a part of that. And again, we focus on the whole student in this effort. I wanted to share this image also because I think well-being is so important in a learner's life. And because they're choosing to enroll at Northwest and we believe in their growth and development, we try to keep all of these things in mind. I think that many of our faculty do a great job connecting with learners in the classroom, but also in the remote environment. And we want to focus on helping them find meaning, purpose, experience belonging, and actively engage in their curriculum. And I think relationships are the way that we help them do that. I also, whoops, let me back up one here. Wanted to share an image. This again is also from Achieving the Dream. As community colleges have evolved over the years, we not only, of course, provide instruction and academic supports, but students come with many other needs. So we have a food pantry for those who experience food insecurity. There's career planning and career inventories. We have academic support, intrusive advising. Our financial aid office provides financial literacy training. We have a facility on campus for fitness. We'd like to provide a space for more mindfulness and meditation type of experiences, but we see the person, the student as a whole person, and we provide individualized supports. So the top student has different needs than the student in the bottom. So we focus on their individualized needs. So what prevents belonging and engagement and lack of relationship? Of course, it's lack of social connections, feelings of isolation. I think that's come up a few different times in the presentations, like feeling like you're on an island, disconnectedness from others. And we know that well-being and learning are negatively impacted. And what we experienced when we had to shift to remote is that everyone experienced this because you took them from coming to a campus with an active classroom environment and active social areas to now you can't come to campus and you're going to need to engage via a computer screen. So we have to make sure that we build in the connections through these remote environments. People were really struggling because as the economy shut down in the state, people were actually required to stay at home. So it actually cultivated all of these feelings. You're isolated and you're by yourself. Relationships, as I've said, are so essential. And I think part of my message is to focus on that. And I think that Dr. Anelli mentioned this as well, is sometimes I think that we look at course design or activity design in ways that it's more about what we're asking them to do than it is about how we're asking them to engage with one another and with us. So we have to focus on that. And sometimes that takes just rethinking and backing up and focusing on the feeling that you're attempting to create and the connection that you're attempting to make with the learner. I mentioned earlier how people struggled without having an actual physical classroom time that they needed to go to. Build in the structure and routine and the social connections in those environments. I think Mike had mentioned in his classes, he set up specific times where students would log into the class. Some faculty were not as comfortable with that, but they set up a more informal meeting time. As I mentioned in career and activities, just reaching out to our learners and saying, okay, at 6 o'clock on Mondays, there's going to be a group of us online. Join us in the Zoom session and let's talk about how you're doing. Those were some of the more meaningful times, and that's when I could find out what was actually going on in our learners' lives so that we can reconsider what kind of supports we're providing. Because our goal was to try to get everybody through the semester successfully. As I mentioned a moment ago, it's really about deep focus on connecting with our learners as people. One of the unanticipated consequences from this is that we did connect as people. We saw one another's homes. You see my bookshelf in the background. You at times when you would be in a class, or you might see a learner's sibling run through the room. So it humanized everybody. So faculty were better able to connect and not worry so much about their boundaries with students. I think something that's also required is a willingness to fail and a positive, confident attitude, even if you're tired and overwhelmed. I think the phrase is sometimes fake it until you make it, but you have to be willing to take risks. And I will admit, like, this was very helpful to me to go through because I tend to be a very formal person and probably more risk averse. I don't want to fail. I want everything to go well, but learning is about experiencing failure and improving. When you're trying to teach in remote environments or redesign a course, you're going to have to be willing to fail. Some things won't work. We saw, you have technological issues at points. Be willing to experience that failure. Don't panic and know that it will be fine. And through that process, actually, your learners will connect with you too. Build in the intentional social connections. I don't necessarily have all of the hows to do that, but it would be, just trying to get to know your learners. I'd like to know more from Mike and Nellie at points, how they get to know their learners. What if you have a shy person who doesn't wish to share something about themselves? A strategy that you could use might be to email them in advance or whatever communication tool you use and say, we're going to talk about these 3 things. Come willing to share something about yourself so that you can pull those more shy people into the class. And then just engage in regular remote interactions. It's just being able to count on the connection that they have with you. Faculty really have such an important role in the learner's life. You're so influential. Never forget that and always focus on the connecting with them. Okay. Go back one here. I think I'd mentioned fear of failure. Don't be a perfectionist. You have to give up on that. You really need to be willing to try new things. Not everything is going to work. Teaching is an art. It does require kind of experimentation. So be willing to fail and try new things. And I think you'll be pleased with the outcome. Just remember to keep the relationship development at the core. Lack of preparedness, I think that can get in the way too. So there's opportunities for training and development, but it also speaks to the hardware that you have. We've had a couple of our audience members talk about the fact that they don't necessarily have the internet connectivity or the devices. Those are definite barriers. One of the things that we did at Northwest State, we have a lot of learners who don't have access to technology or the internet. So we were able to work with our IT department and have them actually issue laptops for learners. So they were able to do that. Maybe there's a way for you to approach a foundation who could invest in your institution or provide tools like that. Sometimes there are grant programs that would provide hardware or software for students who are enrolled in college. Try to find creative ways to get access to those resources. I think one of the other things I would say is work with your administration. Try to make sure that they're on the same page in terms of all of the resources that you need. They can be your best allies, and just have a good relationship with them so that they understand what your needs are in order to shift to online or remote learning. Connectivity and hardware is a key. You need to have the materials, and then you also need to work toward helping your institution have those materials for your learners. The other thing that I think we experienced over time is that, when you're redesigning something or trying something new, you can experience kind of cognitive overload. So when I ran one of my first meetings in Zoom, I noticed that it was hard for me to make sure that everyone was engaged and to be able to read their nonverbals and make sure that I was pulling everybody into the conversation while I was trying to get my message across. It took me a little bit of practice. I'm better, but I'm not perfect. But be kind to yourself as you work through these things. There's always the opportunity for improvement, and don't get discouraged. Here. Nonverbal cues are less available, as I mentioned. It's sometimes hard to see. Like, I do count on, when I'm in a meeting or in a class, being able to see, hear, and watch to see how the information is being received and exchanged. It's hard to do that in Zoom or remote environments. But again, if you maybe take a class with Dr. Nellie or someone else, you'll become better at observing those things and using like the chat feature and other tools to pull people into the conversation. Something else is some learners may not have a dedicated remote space in their home. So they may not have area where they can concentrate on your class. They may not want to use their camera. So you need to be okay with that at points and allow the learner not to be live, I guess. They would be in the course, but not visible. And that should be okay too, because you want to make sure that they feel comfortable. They may not wish for others to see them. Eventually, they may change their mind. And remember too, I guess with our learners, we knew that they were teachers in their own home because they had their kids at home, and they were caregivers. There were so much stress as a result of the demands that they had on their time that we really did see an uptick in the need for campus counseling. I'm thankful that the institution provides that service. And I would say our faculty were tremendous in staying in contact with the learners. And we had a process that if somebody in a course dropped off the map or was no longer engaged, our faculty members would get that student's name to our advising center, and they reached out immediately. We were able to help so many learners through that process, where if we had not had that name, we might have lost them. We were happy to say that the semester turned out fairly well for all of the learners who were enrolled. I think that like 95% of learners persisted through the end of the term and did so successfully. But we also had a few that had to go through the summer for the hands-on experiences. But it was all hands on deck. The entire institution was focused on getting our learners through the rest of the semester successfully. And that's what really helped. I guess the overarching message is, if you have an administration and an organization that is focused on learning and focused on helping those learners achieve their potential, there's no limit to what you can accomplish in online classes and in physical classrooms. Go back here, sorry. So I mentioned positive and unanticipated consequences. We connected with one another as people. I have, better relationships with more students. I have because of participating in some of our sessions with learners. I was able to connect with learners I wouldn't have otherwise. I'm limited in terms of the amount of time walking around campus, and sometimes it's hard to strike up a conversation. But because we were communicating more regularly with students, and also I think they saw familiar names, and then they would engage in these Zoom meetings, and they got to know more people across the institution as a result. Formal boundaries, they're less important, and don't worry about undermining your expertise and authority. I have some faculty who would be more concerned with maintaining formal boundaries, but as we moved through this process, they, I think, experienced a shift because everybody was experiencing stress and they had to try something different, and they weren't actually experts, as we shifted through this, and they had to relax a little bit. And sometimes they even had to ask the learners how to help them out. So it's, as Mike had mentioned, as Dr. Nelly had mentioned, we're really working on connections, relationships, so that people achieve their potential. And that's what we want to focus on. So if you keep that at the core, I think that you'll design excellent learning experiences that will keep your learners engaged. The whole thing was a shared experience that led to greater connectedness, empathy, and it created new responsibilities. There's a lot of concern and a lot of negative outcomes from it. But if we focus on what we've learned through this and take the best of what we've learned and apply that to new course development and reconnect with one another, I think the results will just be phenomenal. I wanted to share just a couple of things about what made this transition possible, because it wasn't me, it was Mike, it was our IT department, it was all of the faculty who shifted their courses to remote learning. It was the visual communication learners who helped a lot of faculty learn Zoom, learn how to use Slack. So it was the entire institution worked together, but we had some key areas. And without those groups, we would not have been as successful as we were. We've learned a lot, and it's only just the beginning. And I'm eager to see what comes up next for Northwest State, particularly when it comes to remote learning and our students. I wanted to finally just really share, tell you, seize the moment, transform your teaching, re-engage with what really excites you about teaching, and just transition it to remote or online. I know you can do this. And I think that you'll experience greater fulfillment through social connections with your learners. It's not about the technology, it's about the relationship. I had said more than once throughout this whole semester, if you will, that the shift was exhilarating and exhausting, but in the end, it was worth the effort. It was so much to go through, but we have to make the best of that experience. And trust me, I think you'll be very pleased with the results that you can achieve when you shift to remote or online. Just remember what it's all about. Finally, I just wanted to say, thank you for your time and attention. Remember, classes and services offered digitally are just a different way to get to the same connections and educational outcomes that we all desire. Social connections with your learners are important. because that's going to improve their well-being and their learning, and you'll feel better too. On the left of the screen, I just shared a meeting. So this was what our world was like. We went remote and worked from home for a number of months. We're now gradually bringing employees back, but it's possible that we'll be remote. At least percentages of office will continue to be remote for some time. So I would expect to see that online and hybrid type of courses will grow in the future at Northwest. Okay, now we'll just kind of open it up for some questions.
Okay, thank you, Lena, for a nice presentation.
Thank you.
So it's the Q&A session. So if you have question, you can raise your hand or you can type it here. Okay, actually I got one from the YouTube participant. How do you cope with uncertainty and how do you work with kids in online class? That's one question.
Okay, how do you cope with uncertainty? Really, for me, it's a matter of probably faith and prayer and calm. I'm a person who really likes structure and in my schedule. And when we shifted, you know, the structure was out the door. So, and we worked a lot of hours during the whole shift. Really, it was from March until probably June that we were working quite a lot of hours. I had to just take deep breaths. I think it was one of those things where as your stress was high, you're working a lot of hours, you still have to take time for self-care. We did talk a lot about that with our employees and our learners, because again, the stress was high for them too. It's easier said than done, but what I will say is I think our president focused on that. He said, people first, take care of yourselves, be kind to yourself, take breaks, you know, take the time off. I think what I heard from a lot of employees was that since they were working from home, and I experienced this myself, that they at the end of the day, they didn't stop working. They worked until 10 or 11 at night. So where you would usually commute to work and then leave work and go home, two separate environments, people were working from home and they didn't stop work. So we had to very assertively say, take time, take care of yourself, get your exercise, you know, get the right sleep, make sure you're eating well. So I tried to practice the same thing, you know, getting sleep, eating well, exercising. Some days were better than others. And again, a lot of prayer. That's just important to me. Okay, what was the second question?
There are some questions more here.
Okay.
The second one is that how to create a meaningful, real environment in virtual online class because it is less interaction or relationship among teachers and students.
Say that again. So how to create a relationship?
Yeah, how to create a meaningful, real environment in virtual online class because it is less interactions or relationship among teacher and students.
A couple of things that I would suggest, and I'd even ask Mike if he wants to weigh in on this, but I think one of the things that I would always hear from students when I was a dean is in an online course, a student might come in and say, well, it's just an online class. I don't know where my teacher is. I'll never get to talk to them. I'm like, yes, you can, you know, and you can set up a specific time to talk to them. I think photographs are essential and an introduction that adds breadth, you know, so you tell them a little bit about yourself. I would include, Mike does a lot of videos. I think that's very, very powerful. So you need to get to know them and they need to get to know you. So the more personal connections that you can make so they see you as a human and someone like them, I think that builds the relationship. Mike, do you have more that you would add?
Oh, geez, so much more, but I don't want to ramble too much. I think the biggest thing for my program was using a tool like Slack or Microsoft Teams. It depending on, you know, the technology itself doesn't matter, but email is not going to work. Social media is still, I don't know how many students actually want to take classes on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, whatever they're on. You know, those are completely different mental states that the learner is in when they're engaging with it. So using Slack, which is a tool for communication, which allowed us to feel a little bit more synchronous, even though it was still asynchronous, creating channels for each class to allow the learners to support each other and be connected that way without having to go multiple clicks down into an LMS and without having to give out like personal details of phone number or, you know, linking through social media. I mean, first step, you're going to create a community of people remote. Let's look at what business communities are doing, and they're using Microsoft Teams, Slack, and those tools.
Okay.
And Dr. Nelly brings up a great point there. WhatsApp as well. I mean, there's multiple tools. I think just play with them and see which one works for you, or which one your institution will support.
Yeah, I should say at the very beginning when we made this shift too, like unfortunately Northwest State is still email focused. You know, we're trying to transition away from that, but when the whole shift occurred, the only way we were really communicating with learners, we do have social media, but to get meaningful like content out to them that's relevant, we had to use email, and then we would refer them to the website. We hope to improve that. And, you know, Mike had mentioned earlier, just the volume of email, we need to use a different tool. I had said in the chat, I was looking at Slack for using it with all of my departments, but they're not familiar with it. And I'm not that familiar with it yet. So I need to get in and learn it. But I think those dynamic means of communication, like we need to transition to those tools. Our learners are coming in with experience with things like that, and we need to adapt. Okay.
Okay. Actually, there are some more questions.
Okay.
What could be the ideal size of the online class so we can be connected to one another?
You know, it's a good question. I'll tell you, I'll answer from an administrative standpoint. At Northwest, our focus has been on, we will have small in-person classes. So those are about 24, and we keep our online course at 20. The writing requirements are pretty rigorous, and the same for the critical thinking. So we reduce that so that there's the ability to connect. But I also, you know, you heard me talk about writing and critical thinking. Sometimes I need to shift that to it's not just that, it's really still focusing on the connection. I think 20 is reasonable for online. I'm not a fan of just classes of 40. I think you need to keep them small.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm Dr. Pradipta Ranjan Patnaik from the province of Odisha, from India. I was just keenly following your presentation. I'm so very impressed that I couldn't resist my temptation to ask this question, because as you know that India is a though it claims to be a South Asian superpower, but it's still battling for technological infrastructure. Now, my question to you would be that how you talked about empathy and connect with the students. Now, how to get connected with the students at the hinterland who do not have access to connectivity, or they are not digitally literate, or they feel relatively deprived when they find their counterparts who are better off to come to terms with this internet connectivity or something like that. How to deal with those students who feel relatively deprived? Even in my online classes, I will also do take online classes. Only 30% students respond, and 70% due to their inaccessibility or financial inability to have electronic gadgets, they cannot respond to the online classes. So how to deal with these serious problems?
Those are serious problems, and I don't necessarily have all the answers. I will tell you that we serve 6 counties, but there are, one of the things, and you saw in one of my earlier slides, the term equity. We are looking at who is not enrolled, and often it's people who don't have the resources. That seems obvious, but there's groups of people who don't have the access to the internet connectivity. All I can say is that we're focused on trying to determine how do we best reach them, and I think we have to go to them. And then I think tackling the problem on multiple levels, working with the government and advocating for more broadband access in areas that don't have it, working with area foundations, if there are foundations that invest in communities. Perhaps you could go after grants or something, or to obtain those resources for groups of people who are going to be left behind that we need to serve. So we have to be creative, and we have to find the resources that we could potentially provide to people who don't have them. So it's not an answer, but just to say, it sounds like there's passion in your voice, and that you should continue to advocate and look for ways to find those resources.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Lena. Since the time is up and still so many questions here.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess that we have to hold the patience. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, and that's very interesting because so many people like to ask about your presentation, but we don't have much time. Okay, now gonna move to the next speaker. Okay, Mr. Benedictus B. Dwijatmoko. So please take the mic, and Zoom is yours. Thank you.
Okay. Oh, can I share my screen? It's still disabled. Okay, thank you to the committee for inviting me to join this conference. Can you hear me? Okay, good. My name is Benedictus Dwijatmoko. You can call me Dwi, or you can call me Benedict. And I'm going to share my experience in conducting practice and interaction using the internet. This is my. Sorry. I heard that. Oh, God. Sorry. Slideshow. So what I'm going to talk about is the practice in an interaction in virtual classroom. And these are the major points in my presentation. First of all, I will talk about Bless for You. It's an excitement for you. This is a website which I developed for giving exercises and writing exercises. And then I will talk about how we can make or write the exercises and also during the exercises. And the next thing I'll talk about the interaction. And after that, I'll talk about the positive aspects of the interaction or the practice, which I conduct. New share. So, writing and doing assessment, but decorative.
Okay, this seems something happened with Mr. Benedict's connection. Okay, he's back.
Okay.
Hello, Pak Dwi, Mr. Dwi. It seems that you haven't unmute yourself, Mr. Dwi. Hello? Yes, okay.
So, Duty,
Yes.
do you mind if while you work on solving this, if I bring something up that I've noticed a little bit in the chat and throughout the conversations? So if then this will be quick, I swear. If
Okay.
if your students suffer from internet connectivity issues or not having access to the internet itself, and if you have to, in order to provide them education, you have to send them a book with a list of questions to consider. That's the best that you can do. As we talk about social connections and having that connection, call them on the phone and talk to them synchronously. I think that is, at the very least, when we talk about online and face-to-face, it's less about whether we're in the same space at the same time. It is definitely about, or whether we're spread out all over and accessing different times, but having a conversation with the student, even if it is over the phone, is at least better than leaving them on all to themselves dealing with content.
Can you hear me? Can I go on, or is there any change?
Okay, just go ahead.
So this is the website I developed for teaching, developing exercises. Here, over here, we can, and we have like and welcome to Plus for You, Herman, and return. And then here, as a student, we can set the challenge over here. If we know the question, we know the challenge, the exercise, we can type the challenge over here. But if we don't, we can search from the public exercises. This is the English objective practice, multi-syllables, and many other, several other practices which are developed for public use. And then if we know the challenge, we can like say, we have like this one, for example. And then click submit. The instruction is missing. We can type over here. This is objective practice. All people are created, and the answer is say equal over here. And if this is correct, it's written here. All people are created equal with a thumbs up. And then the score is 1 over here. It's out of 50. And then the next here you have, he was very, when he heard the news, he was very, say happy. And it said it's not good. It's he was very happy when he heard the news. This is not correct because the thumbs down. So this is the first practice. This is a completion practice. And the next kind of exercise is the challenge over here. And let me get the public from the, this is practice and go. And please identify the word which have a different stress pattern. For example, in flatten, widen, because it has a strong stress at the second, and so on, and continue. And we have over here, please identify the word which can have a different stress pattern: exam, ripen, relief, and succeed. So I think this one is the answer. Click over here, and this is the answer. It's we have a thumb up over here, and it goes direct to the next question. Please identify the word which can have a different stress pattern: allow, widen, threaten, strengthen. And the answer is allow. Another thumbs up. And then please identify the word which have a different stress pattern. Yeah, prepare, I did. So for the multiple choice practice, the users only need to press the boxes or the circles over here. And then if he does not want to answer the question without a penalty, he can just skip next over here, and it goes to the next question. So this website provides two kinds of exercises, namely the completion and multiple choice. And then the users can also see the, let me go to home challenge. See the score over here. This is the Herman. And you can see the challenge. Let me have the, I think you can have the score report over here. I miss. Okay, let me just continue with the create. So besides for doing exercise, a teacher can also create exercise over here by clicking create. And here, initialize. This is the first step to make a practice, initialize. It's in Indonesian or in another language, and then it's say this is in English, and this is the topic is grammar. The name is say English tenses, and then the completion. Please choose the correct tense to correct form to complete the sentence. And then it's a multiple choice. And you have, it can be either public or private. It's public, it means that every users can access it. It's private, only students or people who know the code can do the practice. And then submit. And this is to write. This is the, for writing this, we just choose a file over here, choose the file. We do not need to write anything. We can just choose an Excel file. So for example, this one. And let me share you with the new sharing. A teacher does not need to type in the website or directly in the interface on the website of Bless for You, but you can write here, this is the question and this is the answer. And then after that, just upload it and it will be ready for the users to have it to do the practice. And then for a multiple choice, the format is something like this. New sharing. This is the format of the multiple choice. So we have the question over here. The first column A is the question. Column B is the answer A. C is answer B. Answer D, answer C, answer G. And this is the kids. So what the teacher needs to do to prepare for an exercise is to write it in an Excel and then later upload to Blast for You over here. So choose a file and then let me have it completion over here and up. So this is the question, and after that we can still create and write. We have write. This is the right. This is just the question which I just uploaded and go. So this is the choose a file. Oh no, this one is create and then edit. This is to edit. And then go, and this is the English tenses, is public and multiple choice. If we want to make any change, we can make any change over here and then save it. And then proceed. This one is to edit. If you want to edit, this is the, please identify the word with a different consonant. You can click over here. And then this is, if you want to delete, just click delete first. Click the button over here. If you just want to edit, click edit over here. And then this is a question, and we can save the edition. So this is the practice which I developed for to help the students master the material better. And then for the interaction, I use another tool, another website. Let me have this one. Is this? New sharing. So for the interaction, I use Google just going to say stop it. Okay. So for the interaction, I use the Google Doc. Here, just an example of how using Google Doc. This is a story by L.A. Hill. It's a stories for reproduction. Can you hear me? Can you follow me? Is it okay? Can you follow me? Already? Okay, good. So this one is the passage for interaction here. We can ask the students, this one is shared by all the students, and then we can ask the students to read the passage and work, and for example, find the title or develop the title of the passage. So we can assign students some passages, and we can ask them to work in a group of 3 students or 2 students, and then give the title of the understanding, give the title which is suitable for the story. We can also assign students to answer question over here individually. Also, one student has to answer, for example, one question, and then we can type. The students can type over here. And as a teacher, because this one is an online, when it is done synchronously, we can monitor whether the student has answered the questions well or not, and we can give comments, and we can give suggestions if the answer is not correct or something like that. And then another activities which we can do with a passage like that is that we can ask the students to make questions. So to show that they understand the passage well, we can ask them to make questions based on this, on the passage, on the text. And then we can ask them to write in Excel, for example, and upload to Bless4You and share the questions with other students. So if we have 10 passages, and group 1 will make a passage, questions from passage 1, and group 2 will make questions on passage 2, and so on and so on. And then let me go back to
Sorry, Mr.
yes.
I think you have
Anything?
to, yeah, the share screen one.
Yes.
I think you have to re-click it. Yeah, we missed
sorry.
screen here.
Okay, and then we can have so for the interaction, we can develop a text understanding. We can ask the student, your internet connection is not stable. We can have text understanding to make a summary of the text. We can ask the students to answer questions. We can ask the students to review their classmates' work. And then we can have the students to write exercises. And then with that kind of exercise, we can, the positive aspects with that kind of practice is that we can have a content or material understanding. So the interaction helps the student understand the content. And then it's also a language practice because they have to understand the sentences and they have to write something. And then it's also develops the students' language awareness. They become aware of what constructions are correct or what are not correct. And then it's also because they have to work together, they have to cooperate, and they develop their compassion to each other. They have developed to care for their classmates' progress, whether their classmates have performed well or not, and give suggestions and so on. And then because with the Google Doc, we can have the teacher can monitor the work. Then they have confidence that they are not alone. They are working with a teacher. Either the teacher can talk using not talk. The teacher can type, giving comments. So this kind of interaction is online interaction without Zoom. But if we want to have a Zoom, that's another media. Okay, I think that's all my presentations about practice and interactions in language teaching in virtual classroom. I'm sorry for the trouble with the connection. Thank you, Pak Dudi.
Okay, thank you, Pak Dwi, for brief presentations about the technology. Okay, if you have questions, please type here. So I'm gonna pass it to Mr. Dwi. Okay, I read there's questions about that. What happened if
questions?
Yeah, if there's problem with the connection. Okay, suddenly there's a connection problem when we are teaching, and then how do you deal with that?
Do you mean the for the practice? It's using a cell phone. So with the website Plus for You, we use a cell phone, so we can just repeat it again and again. And I think with the cell phone, it's much easier. So Plus for You is a we can access from the cell phone, and it's convenient because the size of the questions are already adjusted to the cell phone. And then for the interactions, it can be synchronous or asynchronous. The traces of the students, participants in the Google Doc is still traceable, and students can still give comments or give suggestions for any something if something is wrong, not as we expect.
Yeah, and then one more question from Rima. She said that will there be cheating more if we conduct testing online rather than testing face-to-face classes?
Well, if we do it together at the same time, so please do practice or challenge with this code, and then you have to submit at a certain time. So in 30 minutes or something like that, then the chance of cheating is very small. But that's also, I think that's also the chance to develop our trust to our students, that when we have an online, we have to trust our students, and they also to be, we expect them to develop because it's not just this occasion we check their understanding. Later we still have the interactions whether they have understood the text well or the material well or not. That's my answer.
Okay. Now the condition in Indonesia where most teachers do not master technology. Okay, that they are not technology savvy. So, but the students that deal with technology every day. So, what should we do with this?
I think the Microsoft Office with the Excel is not difficult to master. We can just type the exercise in Excel and then export, upload to the application. It's okay. But that's a problem in teaching because everything depends on the connection. But well, if I can say that, I also developed like interactive PowerPoint in which students can do the practice without being connected to the internet. I developed several PowerPoint applications templates, which can give exercises, multiple choice, completions, matching, and so on. And the students can do it offline and they can just take the screen and send the screen to the teacher. But that's out of my presentation topic today. Okay.
Okay.
Any
So,
other
yes.
comments or questions?
Okay. Are there any questions more? Okay, so how do you conduct this social learning in this kind of practice? Is it possible for the students to have like interactions among them?
Yes, if we have Google Doc, we can have interaction. We can have a chat like what we have just with Zoom. So with Google Doc, we can have resume share. So here we have let me just have. Let me have. You have. Oh no, this one. What is my screen? Oh, sorry. But yes, this one. So we can chat. This is Google Doc. We can have a chat over here. This is the chatting. We can have a chat somewhere over here to interact with the students. So in that way, we can have the interaction with the students. It can be a real-time interaction. We type and the students can respond. So that's my answer.
Okay.
Anything else?
Anything else from the participants? From Dr. Nelly said that you can have a Google Docs offline. I don't know about it. What do you think, Mr. Bennett? Can you access Google Docs offline?
No, it's not offline. I mean, we are not synchronously connected to each other. So you can share a document and then we can give comments, but we are not opening. I'm not probably that's not exactly what I want to say. We can just we are online, but we are not doing at the same time. So it's asynchronous, not at the same time. So we don't have the offline Google Doc, I think. Sorry for that.
What I was trying to say was that you can have Google Docs offline. At least I use it on my phone offline. You don't have to be online to be able to add comments, which I think is very important.
Thank you, Dr. Nelly.
I wanted to ask you, I love your design and everything. Do you plan to develop an app?
Well, that website is new. It's just 20 February 22. So it's 200220. It's new. I have developed several apps. I'm also teaching mobile application for language learning. I develop applications for teaching English consonants, English vowels, and the segmental phonemes, and an app for teaching the suprasegmental phonemes, and they work well. The students it work well. They help the students well because they can practice with it, and if the connection is good, they can have a direct feedback from the cell phone whether the pronunciation is correct or not correct. Yes, I'm teaching how to develop mobile applications for language teaching. Yes, thank you.
Okay.
If no, then.
Okay, from Nilaram Srestha, in context of Nepal, many teachers cannot master the new technology, but the students are literate about technology. How can we tackle this situation?
Well, I have no idea. But if it is just a matter of connection, then we can have the offline applications which can help them learn. But without technology at all, then I think the connection is really cut off. But with some technology at the offline or online or offline, there's some possibilities of connecting people. That's what I have in my mind. Probably that's not correct, but I don't have any idea how to connect without any technology. Any idea from other participants? Unless we have in a normal, already in the normal condition where we can interact personally, physically. Yeah, telepathy, Dr. Nelly.
Okay.
Okay.
Another.
Could I add something to that?
Okay.
Because the question wasn't necessarily about access to technology.
Yes.
And I think there's another question about, faculty not being familiar with the technology that we're asking them to use. I would encourage people to engage your student population, your learners, into the equation of what you're going to design. They've got great ideas. That's the best part about education, right? Is every year we have new, young, fresh ideas coming in. Let's include them in the conversations and the development of some of these things, and I think it'll be good for all of us.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I would like to add to Michael that would make it very empowering for the students when they realize, I think that that's what your university does, get students to teach, everybody to teach everybody. Everybody is a learner when it comes to technology.
Okay, another questions. Maybe there are more apps we know will be alternatives and we can choose which one can be applied in different situations, but it takes some time to learn and prepare it. Is there any the most practical apps to use in any situation?
For this time being, I think Zoom is very great, but that's the most interactive applications I know so far. But and you don't have to pay for it if you just have an interaction of 90 minutes or 40 minutes or personal interaction. I think that's very, it works well with the if you have a connection.
Okay, I think that's all. Part 3.
Okay, thank you, Badri. Thank you for inviting. Thank you for your questions and comments.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, the next part is Mrs. Paulina. Okay, Paulina Erawati Paramita. Please grab the mic and thank you. The room is yours.
I prefer standing to sitting because it is more relaxed. Hi everyone, good morning from Indonesia. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody in this world, wherever you are. Thank you for your participation in this event. Amazingly, it has crossed 30 countries attend this event. Well, today in my discussion, I would like to talk about teaching remotely with limited technology in Indonesian context. I'm sure that everybody knows my name because actually it is attached to the poster that you have stated. Well, Madam has crossed the 5 continents in the 30 countries. My students call me Mrs. Pauline, and I teach at Widyadharma University. Okay, before we start our discussion, I would like to show you the quote. This is from Confucius. I like this quote. He said that teaching without thinking is useless, but thinking without education is more dangerous. Again, about the quote, she is a famous woman in the US. I believe that none of American citizens do not know her. Yep. She is Oprah Winfrey. I like her quote. She said that for every one of us that succeeds, it is because there's somebody there to show you the way out. The light doesn't always necessarily have to be in your family. For me, it was teachers and school. This quote is very suitable for our commission right now. Students lost the room from teachers. They need us so much actually. Study at home without any help. They face so much difficulty. Well now, according to our discussion, the using of technology for teaching during this pandemic is a very welcome and appropriate for us. Here are the points that I would like to discuss. The first is remote teaching and online teaching. And the second is how to get started. And the third is ways of teaching remotely. First, we come to the definition about what is emergency remote teaching. Emergency remote teaching, or we call it ERT, is meant to be a temporary shift from the normal modes of teaching. It happens when teaching becomes remote or distant. This takes what would have otherwise been face-to-face or hybrid teaching and transform it to become digital education. And when a crisis occurs that necessitates school to shut down, emergency remote learning may be in the form of online lessons, blended learning, and etc. or radio. And in current times, most of the world find themselves dealing with emergency remote teaching because of the coronavirus pandemic. This rapid implementation has its fair share of challenges. Unlike online learning, emergency remote teaching is meant to be temporary. However, both the RT and online learning should be properly designed and well thought out before beginning. Okay. Next, we come to the definition of online learning. Online learning is a method of instruction that takes place over the internet. Sometimes we call it e-learning. It is a form of education that happens at a distance rather than within a classroom setting. Online learning was created to leverage technology and provide students with the opportunity to earn degrees or attend school without having to be in an academic setting. Actually, there are many ways in which online learning can benefit one's being to attend, including the people that want to have a good career advancement, the people that want to have a flexible schedule and environment, and also the people that want to have a lower cost compared to traditional schools, and also the people that want to have a potentially more choices when it comes to course selection, and also the people that want to increase level of responsibility and time management, and also maybe the people that want to have or get a personal satisfaction. And here I want to talk about the difference of online learning. The characteristic of online learning are: first, it is designed purposely to be remote and distant. Second, it is regarded as the main modes of education, not as action. And it is accessible and voluntary. And also it meant to be a long-term solution, and also it is not urgent, and all resources are accessible. And also the faculty support also full. And the students are voluntarily enlisted. And we come to the difference from ERT or emergency remote teaching. First, it is activated in response to a crisis or something beyond human control, and it meant to be temporary, and also it may lack resources and may not have full faculty support, and also the students may not have a choice. Here we come to the infographic from the online education between synchronous learning and also asynchronous learning. Online or distant education that happens in real time, that is synchronous learning. Lecturer and students are online at the same time using the same learning platform. It has advantages. It's like first, classroom engagement; second, dynamic learning; third, instructional depth. And these advantages are rigid schedule, technical difficulties may occur. The mode favorites. First, teachers can use live streaming sessions like Google Meet, Skype for Business, Zoom, and WebEx. And also we can use live online presentations, collaborative group work like Dropbox paper, game-based learning like Kahoot or Socrative, and also discussion forum or chat like WhatsApp and Telegram. And for the asynchronous learning, it is a learning that takes place via online channels without real-time interaction. Lecturer provides learning materials that students can access anytime. But it has also the advantages like flexibility, passing, affordability. And for the disadvantages like isolation and risk of apathy. The models of favorites, we can use video, screen recording, YouTube, book, Learn, and also collaborative group work like Padlet, Microsoft Teams, gamification, and interactive learning activity. Next, I want to show you the emergency form from remote learning. First, it is online lessons, radios, television, blended social media, and chatting application. Okay, what can you take from this picture? We need to build a way to use everything. If we use the wrong way, then it is going to be difficult for us to move forward. But if the way is just right, then we can work easily. Just like what we see in the picture. It is going to be easier to push the wrong ball than rectangular balls. Here we come to the Indonesian context. The Education and Culture Ministry recently introduced a Belajar di Rumah, learning at home. This is a program to state-owned broadcaster TVRI for the next 3 months, and a platform called Guru Berbagi, teacher sharing, providing reading, learning, and teaching materials. to add on to this. However, the government should still have more offline options for students without internet access, such as the distribution of books and learning materials. Here we come to the infographic about the problem of studying from home. Students throughout the country have complained about the lack of engagement from their teachers after classes were forced to migrate online as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. A recent survey by the Indonesian Child Protection Commission has found that 15.6% of the students do not own laptop, PC, or handphone, and only 8% of the teachers understand how to use online. Online teaching technology, and 36% of the citizens do not use internet, and about 42.2% of students say they could not afford internet packages, making it difficult for them to make a video calls. Added that the current learning methods effectively discriminated against students from low-income households. Parents also cannot afford to pay their children's school bill. And the national closure of school is impacting around 4.2 million teachers and 68.8 million students. And again, according to the survey, it said that conducted between April 13 and 21, 2020, involving 1,700 students and 602 teachers in 54 cities and agencies, found that 79% of students respondent reported little to no interaction with their teacher in a virtual classroom, saying their instructors use digital communication platforms only to assign homework. And about 77.8% of the students who said that teacher had assigned them more homework than usual with unreasonably tight deadlines, resulting in learning fatigue. Because 37.1% of the students say that teacher give them limited time to do their assignments. And the student respondents said that they were not enthusiastic about online learning. And around 93.4% of the respondents use WhatsApp, Line, Facebook, and Instagram. And 53% of the teachers only meet the requirements to achieve the curriculum passing grade. In remote learning, teachers have only focused on providing cognitive education and have overlooked affective aspects related to character building also. Many teachers failed to accommodate students who were unable to afford electronic or reliable internet connection that were essential for remote learning actually. And here we come to the national learning platforms and two consist of Rumah Belajar. This is a platform providing learning content, learning management system for digital classrooms and other resources that enables each user to interact, communicate online, and organize distance learning activities. And the second, we call it SPADA, a new learning platform provided for free at the moment for students of higher education. And the third is TV Edukasi. This is an educational television broadcasting classes for primary, secondary, and tertiary school students. In contexts where most students have limited to no access to the internet, it may be quite challenging to prepare yourself to teach remotely. In such a scenario, you will benefit from some preparation and research into different options before starting to teach. You will need to think about the situation for the majority of your students and design your approach and activities accordingly. Here are some tips to help you get started. Considering your contacts, think about your own and your student access to and use of technology to decide what platforms can be best to support remote teaching and learning. First, if the students have the access to the internet, you have to find out how many of your learners have access to the internet. If they do, find out how they access it on a laptop, tablet, or phone, and how much data volume and bandwidth they have available. And also you have to think, do they use any social media platforms such as Facebook? Do they use any messenger applications such as WhatsApp? And if your learners can get online, what type of content do you think they will be able to access? Video conferencing or online courses? Or will this be limited to using messenger application only for WhatsApp or social media? And think again about no access to the internet. What about if they have no access to the internet? I found that there are many questions about this. And you have to find out whether your learner use their own phones or a phone belonging to their parents for younger learners. Communicating by telephone with their parents or caregiver phones is strongly recommended. You will need to ask their permission to use their phone number to add them to a class group. And the second option, if they have access to a mobile phone, can you send SMS or MMS for communication and study materials? And another solution, if the majority of them do not have reliable phone access, how else can you communicate? Think about their access to television, radio, or print media. However, remember that television and radio or print media for teaching is likely to require more support from your department. And the last option, can some of your school administrative staff help you send printed study materials to students each week? Here are the ways of teaching remotely with limited technology. First, using phones, second, using social media, the third, using television or radio, and the last, using print media. The using of phone and or SMS. You have to set simple tasks on a daily or weekly basis as suitable for you and your learners using either SMS or phone calls. If possible, use SMS gateway platform to deliver the task or lesson interactively. You can set simple tasks on a daily or weekly basis as suitable for you and your learners, using other SMS or phone calls. Type. If you can make a conference calls, agree dates to send out different kinds of information. Students also need to know the SMS types you send in the notebook. You could have a week focus on the vocabulary, then the following week focus on grammar revision, and the next week focus on the pronunciation and etc. And the using of social media. You can create a closed group on Facebook or WhatsApp and using it to set tasks, share learning materials, and collect homework and assignments. Use WhatsApp or Facebook autoresponder application. Using Facebook Live or a video call on WhatsApp can be an effective way to have a real-time interaction with learners to introduce new concepts and clarify doubts. TV edukasi or televisi pendidikan Indonesia, education television, formerly TVE. Actually, it is an educational television station owned by the MOEC and started in 2004. Currently, TV Edukasi has two channels airing live education programs, one for students and the other for teachers. The channel's website also live streams the television broadcasts as well as houses on-demand content. And the using of television or radio. If you have received approval and can broadcast lesson via television or radio, you could set tasks for your learners for the day or week as a per schedule. Radio and television might be to help your students with pronunciation and listening skills. Even reading a story book aloud and teaching new vocabulary can work well. And the last is the using of print media. Print media is more suitable to promote reading skills and set practice tasks for grammar and vocabulary. You can generate interest in reading using comic strips and stories, and set writing tasks based on those. Well, the educational inequality in Indonesia has forced many schools using limited technology to survive education in COVID-19 pandemic. It is a dilemma in this modern era, but it is a reality to face. It is not the time to plan, to stare, or to cry. It is the time to solve. So what we are experiencing right now is a remote teaching, actually, not an online teaching. Okay, well, that's all that I can share. Thank you for the time and the opportunity given to me. I hope you get something valuable from my presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mrs. Paulina. Are there any questions? Okay. So it's a nice presentations about teaching remotely. Some people make like mistakes in this kind of term. Okay, that tends to mix remote teaching and online teaching. Actually, both are different. Okay, so yeah. So so what do you think, Mrs. Paulina? What do you think that what should our government do, okay, to provide a better situations, okay, a better education now for Indonesian students? You can see that there are so many people are abandoned here, okay. It seems that the students just lost the teachers, okay, without any like attention from the teachers. You can see that just in my class, like so many teachers just give assignment again, okay, without just like giving them feedback or like giving them lesson Okay, they just got homework and homework again. So what do you think?
Yeah. I cannot force these teachers that do that kind of thing actually, because this is the condition that some students are not ready to have a remote teaching actually. Yeah, because this situation is happened suddenly, and people in Indonesia actually are not ready yet to accommodate those situations. What should I do? The timing, this is the hard job, difficult job for teachers, that actually teachers have to get closer to the students and ask them to face this problem together and give the more attention and affection. And yeah, as a teachers and educator, we have to be patient to face some students that cannot face this situation that happened rapidly or change suddenly actually. So this is a hard job, I think, that we have to face together between teachers and the department actually.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Paulina. Okay, seems no more questions. So I'm gonna, no, it's my turn now, okay? So actually I just like a Superman. I do everything here just now. Okay, I become the moderator, the host, and then the presenter. But it's nice to share here. Okay, first let me introduce myself again. I reintroduce myself, okay? My name is Dudi Effendi. Actually, you can call me a hybrid teacher, okay? So my background, my undergrad background is from economics, okay? But I'm teaching English, math, accounting, and then computer, and then management information system, a lot more. So it's really that doesn't relate to my background, okay? And then after I'm teaching, I enjoy it. Okay, so I continue my master degree, okay, or you can say like postgraduate degree, right, over there. And I took the education field, so English education, and also my background also like instructional design, just like Michael. That's why I know a lot about it. Okay, and I designed the culture-based materials. Okay, so far I enjoy this kind of work. Okay, now I'm going to present about technology also. Okay, I love technology. I don't know why, since I was born to be this field. Okay, now I'm gonna share my screen. I don't know, is it? Oh, so, okay. So what I wanna talk about is distributive learning design using WhatsApp. Okay, like the condition in Indonesia, maybe probably at the world, third world countries, or we have problem with the bandwidth, the financial, and also the technology. Okay, just like what Mrs. Paulina said that, yeah, we have limited technology in Indonesia. So that's why I think of a way to solve it. I mean, for a teacher, it's quite difficult for us like to handle tons of students. Okay, so every day you have to like, if you give some kind of assignment to the students or teaching materials to the student, you have to manually reply one by one. it seems like it's really consume a lot of time. So I figured out that how to solve this kind of problem. We could use WhatsApp. WhatsApp is used all over the world, and if I'm not mistaken, I read that WhatsApp become the first app used in the world. It beats Facebook. I don't know if it's true or not, but yeah, that's why I picked this kind of a platform. Okay, so yeah, it really is you if we can do this. So my title is Distributive Learning Design Using WhatsApp. So yeah, again, my name is Dudi Effendi. So this is my email. If you want to know much about using WhatsApp, okay, so you can just contact me, or you can just contact via my mobile phone, okay. Okay, what is distributed learning? Okay, distributed learning is an instructional model that instructor, student. Okay, let me minimize this first. Okay, distributed learning is an instructional model that allows instructor, students, and content to be located in different non-centralized locations so that instruction and learning can occur independent of time and place. So yeah, you don't need to be like butter with everything. You just put the content there, and then the students could access anytime, anywhere they would like to have it. Okay. And then another technical definitions from Louis Whitaker and Julian. Distance education is a basic definition of distance education. Describe it as the delivery of the educational process to receivers who are not in proximity to the person or persons managing or conducting the process. The term distance education can also be used in general terms to describe any approach that replaces the same time, same place, face-to-face environment of a traditional classroom environment. So actually, there are so many terms for this distributed learning. And then the next is from the Commonwealth Learning, Introduction to Open and Distance Learning. So distributed learning is learning as type of distance education, which is defined as technology-enabled learning, team-focused education, facilitated by a content expert and delivered anytime and anywhere. Distributed learning emphasizes the learning itself rather than the type of technology used, or the separation between teacher and learner makes learning possible beyond classrooms, and when combined with classroom modes, become flexible learning. So it's just another definitions, okay? So it's that. So if you see the chart, okay, or if you see the pictures, that we put the shareable content of object for across the worldwide, okay, and then we put it there, okay, and then assemble in real time on demand, mean that we access real time on demand, mean that the student can access anytime. Okay, you can use so many platforms of community devices like tablet, and then computer, laptop, mobile phone, smartphone, and etc. So, is distributed learning better than traditional forms of teaching? I tried to search this kind of research, but yeah, so far that there's no significant difference in outcomes with traditional curriculum and distributed learning. So yeah, we can use the kind of distributed learning. So the advantages of this is that ease of access to and integrations of high volumes of diverse learning resources. Okay, we can just, yeah, it's make us easy to have access of huge materials there. Okay, and then the opportunities for working life or asynchronous in collaboration with others from anywhere in the world. So this is asynchronous form, so you can collaborate with anybody in this world. Okay, choice of learning style within the same package according to the need of the learner. Okay, and then multiple levels of engagement to different depths of understanding, logging or tracking of activities. Okay, we can see, we can trace back, okay, the activity have done by our students. Okay, so yeah, it's kind of like is us, okay? So education transcends time and space barriers and takes place at a path set by students themselves. So the student can adjust, okay, with their ability to follow or to study, okay. Distributed learning gives learner greater responsibility for managing their own learning. So yeah, it gives the learner more responsibility for themselves because they have to like to have like a self responsibility to learn. If not, they won't be able to get what they want to study. They won't get the knowledge with the study. And then term usually used beside that kind of distributed learning is e-learning or distance learning and online learning. Sorry. And then now we try to design, okay, here, that's the most important part. So what do we need? Of course, first we need teaching materials or instructional design. These two terms are interchangeably. You can use teaching materials or instructional, okay. So that was teaching instruction, sorry. Both of them are same. And then we need WhatsApp, okay. That's the platform you're going to use. And then Google Sheets. And then another app, okay, called What's Auto Reply, okay. Talking about this app is, what is it? It consists of two versions. The first is free version. So for this time being, I'm gonna explain about the free versions. Okay, later on, maybe if we have the chance to meet again, I'm gonna explain about the premium version. It's better for the premium version actually, but for I think Indonesian context, free version is okay. Okay, what's auto reply? Okay, it's an app. Yeah, you can download via Google Word, the Google. You can just download from there. And for the free versions, actually you cannot really. Sorry. For the free version, we cannot do like the marking on the scoring, okay? We have to do this manually. Okay, so but I have some tricks to do that. Okay, next, steps. First, we have to create the format on Google Sheet. So I prepared the format here. So I try to stop this one first, okay? Okay, I'm gonna show you, okay. Another screen. So wait a minute. Okay, here is it. Okay, so I try to, actually I just downloaded from the breakingnewsenglish.com. Okay, I try to adjust with this material. So there's get fill, vocabulary, matching, and then true or false, and then multiple choice. Okay, but it's impossible to have essay. I don't think there's any platform that can like score or mark the essay. Okay, it's quite difficult. So we can just do like the gap fill and then vocabulary matching and then true or false and then multiple choices. Okay. But for this time, okay, I only want to show example how to do the first one first, okay, the gap fill, okay. You can do it later at home, you want to try it. So first, what do we need? This teaching material or instruction. And then, okay, after we got this, we go to Google Sheet. Okay, so I'm gonna show you the Google Sheet. I'm gonna like, share the screen again. Okay, here, wait. I couldn't find it here. Okay, here, great. Okay, so the trick is like this, okay? So I need to, I divide this into two columns, okay? The first is the left one and the right one, okay? The left one is for the, like, the code or the keyword, and then the right one is for the instruction or the questions. Okay, so first I type English because I'm teaching English, so I type English, but it's up to you. What do you want to write here? If you teach math, you can do math. If you teach biology, you can say biology, but it's up to your creativity. So I type English there, and then the right one is welcome to English subject. Please type start if you are ready, and then instruction. This exercise consists of 4 parts. Each part consists of 5 questions. Each question will be marked 5 points. You only have 1 chance to answer each question. So this is only the instruction. Now this is the part. The instruction should be clear because that lead your student to lead your student to type correctly and get the response from you. So how to answer part 1? You can say to answer part 1, you need to type the number of the questions and the answer. For example, the answer for number 1 is COVID-19. Then type 1 without space, because sometimes students like type double space. So if you type double space and then the system will read you wrong. Okay, so better we no need to have the space there. So number 1 is COVID-19. So for an example, question number 2, the answer medicine. So type 2 medicine. So I haven't type 2 here. Okay, and so on. Okay, it's continue like if for the matching one. Okay, you can say 6A if the answer is A, 7F the answer F. And for true or false, you can just like 11T, 12F. Okay, so something like that. And then for the part 4, okay, multiple choice, same case like that. You can just simply, like number 16, the answer is B, so you type 16B. Number 17, the answer is D, and 17D, okay. So when we design the next part, to do question number 1, please type 1. Okay, so we design number 1 now. Okay, okay, number 1, fill in the blank with following words: thread, probably, either, in fact, carry. Okay, so I type 1, and then the questions conservation experts are saying that the blank in wildlife could be quickly cut after the coronavirus pandemic has finished. So I will type 1 thread on the left side, 1 probably, 1 either, 1 in fact, 1 carry. Okay. Okay, so for number 1, we have to know that the answer key first. So the answer is threat. So conservation experts are saying that the threat in wildlife could be quickly cut after the coronavirus pandemic has finished. So I will type, your answer is correct for 1 thread. And then type 2, that's for the next instruction. Type 2 to continue to the next number. So if the questions are not correct, okay, so you can just type your answer is incorrect, type 2 to continue to the next number. Okay, and so on. And then we go step to the next number. Number 2. Some happen, some case. Okay, I just copy, paste from the first question. I just need to modify the questions. They say that the virus, okay, blank, started at a market selling with wild animals in China. So I just modify the questions again. Okay, I just simply type 2 thread, not 1 thread anymore because it's number 2. Then 2 probably, 2 either, 2 in fact, and 2 carry. So if your answer is correct, okay. Okay, so the answer for this is 2 probably. So if the answer is correct, then type 3, continue to the next number. If the answer is incorrect, type 3 to continue to the next number. So out of it here are same, and also the number 3, you do the same thing. Okay, I guess that you understand about this. Okay, and then for number 4, also the same. Okay, just continue. And then number 5, also the same. So I just cut it into 5 numbers, because if I do it like 10 or 20 numbers, it's gonna take too long. Okay, so I just make it into 5 numbers. And then the tricks to get score, because the free version, we cannot automatically get the score from the students or from the responses. So what should we do? We try to manually ask the student to count the true or the correct answers. Okay, so it's just your answer is correct, okay, or incorrect. Type score to count your score. Okay, so score, and then ask the student to type the correct of the total correct of the answers. Like if the student got 1 correct, let's say correct 1 without any space. Okay, and then correct 2 without any space. Okay, so okay, go to the next part. If correct 1, we have to count it because we have 5 questions. So each point we got each question we got 20 points. Okay, so if correct 1 correct, that's 20, and then 2 correct is 40, 3 correct is 60, and so on. Okay, and then that's all for the spreadsheet here. And then what should we go for the next step is we're going to okay, I'm sorry, I have to share the screen first. Okay. The next part is that we will synchronize Google Sheet to WhatsApp auto reply. So how? Okay, I don't use my phone here, so I just show it in PowerPoint. Okay, first we open WhatsApp auto. Okay, so you will see like this. You click or you press home. It should be in your phone. Okay, home, and then you slide the auto replay to the on position. Okay, to the on position like this. Okay, make sure it's on, and then the next part is that okay, you will go to, you click this the 4 boxes or the 4 square stuff here. You click it and then find spreadsheet. Okay, and then click it, and then you'll find out that okay, like this, synchron. Okay, so you try to click or press or touch the synchron there, and then you have to pick or to choose the materials you upload to the Google spreadsheet. Okay, so here is the title of the Google spreadsheet is WhatsApp instruction design. So I click it, okay, and then I synchronize it, and then the result, if it's successfully synchronized, will be like this. Okay, so this is the important part now. We're going to see the result, okay? Okay, wait. Okay, I set this font first into my font. Okay, let me, yeah. Wait a minute. Okay, good, works. Okay, I'm gonna show you the screen. Okay, again, I share my screen. And where is it? Okay, here. Okay, so the student will have to type based on the instructions, because my subject is in English, so I type English. And then the answer, okay, please type start if you are ready. So I type start. Okay, and then the instruction consists of 4 parts, blah, 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 okay. Sound. And then, because I want to do number 1, okay, so I type 1. Okay, so fill in the blank with the following words. Okay, I try to fill with 1 thread. Your answer is correct. Type 2 to continue to the next number. So I type number 2. Okay, now I try to make it incorrect. I will type either. Yeah. Your answer is incorrect. Type 3 to continue to the next number. And then I try to type number 3 now. And the number 3 questions. Okay, I will answer it again. I will make it like correct answer again. Okay, your answer is incorrect. Okay, what's wrong with the incorrect one? Okay, so type number 4 to continue. And then, in fact, okay, so correct, so I got total 2 corrects now. And then I continue to number 5. Okay, I answer correct, Carrie. Yes. Okay, so I got 3 correct, 2 incorrect. So I gonna type score 3. And oh, sorry, something wrong with the. Oh, sorry, not score 3, correct 3. That's the mistake, sorry. Oh, something wrong again. Okay, since with the data I just updated just now, something wrong with that. Okay, so I'm gonna see this. Correct one. Oh yes, it hasn't been synchronized. Okay. So I haven't synchronized it for that. Okay, I'll save it first. I'll save for synchronized. Ah, again. Oh, sorry, space. I forgot the space one. Okay, that's my problem, sorry. Okay, this is gonna work. Okay, see, I forget that I add the space. See, space is very important. That's why I do not want to add space there. Okay, that's my problem, sorry. And later I'm gonna I forget that I add space there. So that's, See, I gonna like share again. See, the answer is the correct answer is 3. Then I type correct 3, and the result will be 60. Okay, it's quite kind of helpful for us, especially Indonesian people, Asian countries that I guess that use WhatsApp for teaching. It's gonna be like is our work, especially teachers. I can't imagine that I have like 300 students, okay, just massively, okay, send me a message, and like the word, the exercise there. So it's like, wow, I won't be able to do that. It's kind of stressful. So if we use this technology, that it's gonna ease us, okay. I think so. Okay, so if you have like idea to develop this kind of WhatsApp together, or you want to develop like teaching materials, okay, we're using WhatsApp. Okay, I also want to develop together with you all guys in the world. Okay, just contact me. We can do this project together because it's gonna be cool if we can create this. Okay, we can just the whole world can use this kind of instruction, and it's easy, cheap. Okay, Indonesia is quite cheap for using this kind of WhatsApp. Some providers, okay, give free bandwidth for this using of WhatsApp. So it's really helpful for teachers in Indonesia. Okay, I think that's all. If you have any questions, you can address it here. So we answer it. Okay. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Any question? Did I see any question there? No. Okay. Okay, good. Since no questions, okay. Just for information, that in our country, okay, mostly the teacher use WhatsApp, okay, and that's why I think of this way to help the other teachers in Indonesia and around the world, okay, to use WhatsApp. We can afford ourselves, okay, to do a lot with the sophisticated technology, expensive technology, to buy that kind of technology. Okay, even though our school could afford to buy that kind of technology, but we prefer to consider the students. Okay, we have to consider the people. The most important thing that they could study, not because they have to attend a very high-tech classroom. Okay, yeah, there will be enough for us to help our students to contact us, to interact with students, rather than just give them assignment, just ask them to do it at home and there's no interaction like this. Even though this is just a bot, but the student will feel that, whoa, we are with them, okay, we are near them because we interact with them, even though it's a bot, but it's enough to like accompany them, to give them like motivation, I guess. So just like us, okay, if we do not have like people to motivate us or people to watch us at home, I think that we will not just, the student will not just like study, okay? So by this kind of technology that is, the remote will become closer, okay? The far location will come closer. They will feel that we are among them. Okay, okay, thank you very much, I guess. If no example, no more questions. So any more things to add, Michael, or maybe Elena, or Dr. Nelly? Yes?
I really just want to thank you for the opportunity and bringing this all together. I know it's not an easy thing to do, highly stressful, and you pulled it off. So congratulations, and hopefully you get some time to relax after this.
Yeah, that was a great example, Dudi. And you're right about WhatsApp. it's used around the world, not just in Asia, but in South America and Europe as well. So it's a good tool, and you did a great job. Thank you for this wonderful event.
I agree. It's been outstanding. I've learned so much, and it's also, I appreciated both Duty and I think it was Paulina who kind of defined terms. I think that's very important when we talk about the different types of learning, online, remote, hybrid, synchronous, all of those things, because each environment has its own challenges and benefits. But it's been awesome to be a part of this. I've learned a lot. Thank you so much.
Yes, it's a great event for us to learn many things from different scholars, different experts, and share experience. Thank you for inviting. Thank you for joining.
Okay, I also would like to thank to Michael because he is the man behind this, I guess. Because I attend your Field Tour Summit last time, my Field Tour Summit, and I learned a lot. Okay, and I feel a way like to share things like this. Okay, but the problem is I couldn't have that kind of panel discussion. Okay, it's kind of hard to organize that kind of panel discussion like you. Okay, so but I learned a lot from you, and thank you for Lana because you inspire us. Okay, social interactions really needed in education. And then for Dr. Nelly, you give you give me a lot of motivation because I like to attend your session, the classes you teach. I usually follow, and well, you are a great person. I mean that you get a lot of materials to share and limitless. I mean that unlimited. You just share and so many things to share there. I don't know why you have a lot of knowledge about this kind of education stuff here. So cool. Okay, and thank you for Pat Dwi to be here with us. Okay, even though that the first time we got a little bit glitch with the connection, but yeah, it's kind of great to have your presentations. And one more for it seems like Melissa is not here anymore. Okay, because maybe it's very late there, right? It's like 1 o'clock there, right? So late at night or morning now. I'm very thank you for your kindness to join us here. Okay, I also want to apologize because I batter you guys, batter you sleep. It's like 1 o'clock there. I know it's hard, okay, but thank you for sharing with us here. Okay, you guys give us a lot of knowledge. Okay, and thank you for all the participants. Okay, and I'm sorry for the YouTube. I don't know what happened with the YouTube. Suddenly it's just like stop in the middle of the air, and I have to like design. That's why I just stopped my camera. I tried to reset again, but last time there were like 1,000 people. Okay, but after that, after the problem, and then only like 100 people in the YouTube. I'm very sorry for that. But I'm gonna like share the recording to your email for the one who haven't attended, and I'm gonna like because this is our mistake and it's unpredictable. So I'm going to like you're still able to claim the e-certificates. I'm gonna send them to your emails. Okay, for all participants on YouTube or Zoom. Okay, I'm very sorry for that. Hope that we will learn from this. So something I even don't know what happened with that. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna give you for the participant. I think that they are waiting for the link to this link. Okay, to claim the e-certificate. Please make sure that you type your name and email correctly, because last time I found so many people got wrong emails. Okay, so please to claim the e-certificates, please I provide your link there, bit.ly /w e-certificate. Okay, you can fill the link with your full name and your email, and then please allow us like 2 weeks, okay, to send the e-certificate, because we can only do like 150 daily basis, 150 certificate daily basis using Aristocrat. So please allow us like 2 weeks to send you. So please be patient. Your e-certificate will arrive soon to your emails. Okay. And I'm grateful that I want to say thank you to Mr. Hadi, Mr. Hadi Santoso, as director of Widama University. He's attending this session too, and also to Pastor. He's a professor now, Professor William Cheng. Okay, he is the only professor at Widama University. Okay, and then Pastor Paulus Tony as the head of foundation of Kembal Baik Education. Okay, we are very great to have you all here. Okay, so okay, that's Pastor Tony, Paulus Tony. This is also a doctor, actually, a doctor. Okay, nice to have you here.
Thank you.
Okay, and thank you for all support from everybody. Okay, that have support us. Okay, this is a great work. Okay, and this is a very great experience, and I hope that these sessions, our sharing, could be useful for you to be used in the future. And don't, it's okay for me to like attach your contacts, Mr. Michael van der Poel, and then Lana Snyder, and then Dr. Nelly Dilch, and then part 3. It's okay if I attach your emails or contacts in my email to send to the participants who knows that they want to know much about your presentation. Okay, thank you. Okay, cool. Okay, I guess that's all we can have for today, and I hope that this is not the end for everything. I hope that you, when you after this, you could just start to do something for your school, for your country, for your people. Okay, you can do something good for them. I mean that I see so many people blame the government, blame people. This is not time to blame people, I guess. Okay, as ourselves, what can we do for them? Okay, if we just blame it, it won't stop. So just do what we can do. Even if simple or single things, it's okay. It's very useful. Okay, just like we're sharing this session like this, it's a simple things, but it's useful for people. Okay, thank you very much for your attention, your participation, and see you in the next event. Thank you very much. Thank you and thank you and thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So I'm gonna end the meeting, okay? So thank you for your participation.